The Dutch tilt, changing the feel of your image, is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello everyone, welcome. Now, the Dutch tilt is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's one of those techniques that a lot of photographers have just forgotten about. And to do the Dutch tilt is real simple. Now, first of all, holding your camera properly is essential. Elbows in tight. Now I have complete balance with my camera. When I bring it up to my eye, now when I do the Dutch tilt, I just slightly drop my elbow just a little bit, and now I have a slight angle that I'm shooting on. It's up to you on which direction you want to go. You could drop the right arm or you could drop the left arm, entirely up to you. And there are some photos that you should never do a Dutch tilt on, and we'll talk about all that in a moment. By the way, notice I'm in the studio and I have my lens hood on. I can't stress this enough. Always put that lens hood on. It's not just for the reflection, but if I bump into something, I'll break a $8, $9 piece of lens hood and not the lens. So that's just a little bonus tip there. All right. So let me dive into my favorite topic here. Here we are with the Dutch tilt. Now, I will admit, this is how I envisioned this image. All right. I did get a little carried away and I got a little crazy with the Dutch tilt when I was shooting this. So this obviously is a horrible example of a Dutch tilt. And notice it's just way too much. So watch the difference here. So here's the difference. And look at why I chose the Dutch tilt. This is what it would look like if we shot it straight. Right about here. Now, please keep in mind, yes, I cut the heads off. Imagine this being a full image, not just what we just did there. I'm just giving an example. But it just looks, okay, he's sitting straight up. She leans in, gives him a kiss. It's nice. But this was her 50th wedding anniversary. So instead, look at this. I just, plus the black and white, I just love that angle. Just that slight tilt, he's leaning into her. Now, here's another image with a grandfather and the granddaughter. He's leaning into her, right? Well, that's not the way I envisioned it. I envisioned it like this. Her leaning into him. Well, why? Well, he's older. He's more, it's his grandfather. It's the authority figure. She is coming to him. He's not going to her. Like, if you notice in this case here, yeah, in reality, that's what really happened. He came to her, and actually, let me crop it, because I did do a little Dutch tilt on this, but this was the original image. Let's get to the crop. And you can tell because of this right here. This line that I did. Let me get a moment. And, it's processing. So when I saw them, yes, I got her to go over to them. And I'm one of those photographers where they say either let it happen or make it happen. I kind of like making things happen at events. So, yeah, I set it up. I had her go over to him, but he leaned into her. So this is what it would look like if it were straight. There we go. There we are. All right. So that's what it would look like if it's straight. And I don't know. That's not what I envisioned. All right. The little girl is straight. He's going into her. That's fine. But in fact, I'll just do it right here. I just like the mood or the feel of her going to him. So that's a creative choice. So you could, in theory, just shoot it straight on and make sure, like in this case, give it a wider angle or a wider view. So if you decide to get creative like this, there we go. We could get creative and do this. Now, what I would have to do to fix this is I would have to use Gen Expand to expand out the areas so I can get it in. But look at the difference. Him sitting up proud, her leaning into him. All right. Now, I did that throughout this entire shoot. Um, just this kid was so full of energy. Again, Dutch tilt works perfect here. It just adds that emotional tone to it. It's different. All right. Same thing with the young girls. Now notice I went the opposite way with the Dutch tilt, where she's there and the one's falling onto her. All right. Now let's go a little bit further. I'll come back to those in a moment. Here she is, Catherine. So if any of you follow me on social media, a couple weekends ago, my goddaughter Erica's best friend, Catherine, just graduated with her master's. I've been photographing her since she was 7. So of course we took the 5-hour trip to go see her up at FSU, and it was a horrible day. The lighting, you name it, it was bad. Yes, I had to use Luminar Neo to enhance and fix a lot of these images. Now, here is an iconic shot of FSU with the warrior in the background. I shot it straight on. Then I said, Catherine, can I get a little creative? Yes. Here's the Dutch tilt. Notice the difference. It adds a little something extra to the scene. It's not your typical graduation photo. It's more of an artistic blend. Now, which way do we go? Well, I did it both ways. So these, by the way, are straight out of camera. That's why I didn't edit them. But if I went the opposite way, like I normally do, I don't know. The words just feel like they're falling down. This does not, in my opinion, this image doesn't feel as powerful as this image. She's leaning this way, and there's the campus and the stadium in the background. For me, I like this. Which way is the best? It's whatever you feel. Whatever you feel, and you feel the creativity with it. Now, we did take, what are the 3 torches? Yeah, so we did a shot where the 3 torches are. I did a straight on shot, made sure we got the shot that she wanted, then experimented, and you know what? I don't know. It just, for this image, and like I said, there are some images that just doesn't, the Dutch tilt doesn't give you that feel, because if you look back at a lot of the old movies, like The Bird by Alfred Hitchcock, or if you look at Batman and Robin, the old 60s version, they embrace the Dutch tilt. Frankenstein, The Mummy, they did the Dutch tilt to give that uncertainty, to build up drama, to build up tension. Well, sometimes you can use it as a creativity side. Now, I think the reason why I don't like it here is because there's water in the scene. With that water in the scene, it just doesn't feel natural. So if you're doing it at the beach and you try a Dutch tilt and there's the ocean behind it and you see the horizon line, it may not look that good. Again, you have to decide. So there's those. Now, we're in the Bahamas. And here's Leanne. Let me get to these shots here. Okay, perfect. These are all straight out of camera. Here is I applied the Dutch tilt with this automatically. And then again, it's here, angle off to the side, took the shot. This is how it came out. I like it. Then some of the other ones I shot straight on. So let's look at the difference. Here we are. And again, there's a slight tilt to it. Nothing major, but what if we apply the tilt? All right. So a couple things when you're working with a Dutch tilt, if you know that's what you want to do in the end, give it some room. Give more head space, bottom space. Give it a little bit more room so you can be creative. In this case here, I will Dutch tilt it. I love it like this, but I don't like that I'm cutting off her hands. So I might as well embrace it even more and do something like this. All right? And that's a little too much. And right about there. All right? So that, to me, it leans towards this. Now, people could say, always get it right in camera. Yes, that's your goal. But sometimes when you're trying to be creative, it could backfire on you. You know, it's like in the old days, if you photographed with black and white film, and then you realized, oh, I really wish I shot in color. Too late, you can't. But if you shot in color, you can always go back to black and white. Same concept here. So I like this here. Where's one of my favorite ones? This door. Oh, you know what? Let's see if I have it. Here it is. So look at this door behind her. I'm going to go to folder of the library. All right, here we go. Let me get these here. And I'll show you. I hope I have the one. There we are. Yep. So here we are, straight on shots. All right. This is where when I looked at it, it was like, it's not doing anything for me. It's not, there's no creativity. Then when I shot on a slight angle, this is what I like. I like how the doors, again, are off on that tilt. There we go. Something along the lines of like this maybe, and then we would crop it accordingly. But do you see how it adds that little different dimension? All right. And you could also use it when it comes to outdoor shots. So here we are. Here's the original image, like this, straight on. It looks nice, but that Dutch tilt, I like that look. To me, that screams a little bit more with fashion than the original one. This looks like, well, it's normal. That's something anyone can do. This just looks a little bit more creative. And now imagine if this were for a makeup company. On the bottom left there, they would put their logo and all this other stuff straight. Now you have that little angle of her with a straight logo and so on. So these are things you can look for the next time you're out shooting. Just think, does the image sit well straight on traditional, or can I put that little tilt in there? All right. So there we have it. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about the Dutch tilt. And again, if you're trying to go for that look of off kilter, that emotional tension or the creativity, give it a try. All right. So now if you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.